All right, welcome back to another episode of Studio 7. Matt Bove, Julius Slurry, DJ Hermoic joining you, both members of our digital team. They made their Studio 7 debuts last week. I saw a little head bob when the music was playing there. You were getting into it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, that's right. It gets you going. It gets the energy up for the rest of the day. So you guys are both members of the digital team. What I said. What would you say you do on a day-to-day basis? And why is that something that we care about here at Channel 7? Obviously, there's people watching this. They're watching it on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever they're watching it, maybe on TV. We're a TV station, but that's only like part of what we do.
Right.
So what would you say you do on a day-to-day basis and kind of how it is pertinent to anybody who's watching this?
This is like an interview question.
This is like an interview question, yeah.
I'm going to make Slurry answer this because this is, I'm intrigued.
Because I got Boss Man next
yeah,
to me.
yeah, exactly.
I would say we do digital content creating, whether it's like print, whether it's video, creating ideas, just anything digital related. And it's important because, you know, news just doesn't live on TV. You know, we're getting our news more digitally now these days. So
how'd you do?
Very broad, but
yeah.
That's good. I'm interested for your answer.
For me?
Yeah.
I mean, what I would say is that every company, every brand, whatever it is trying to figure out a way that they can engage and capture their audience when they're not just, you know, it's not right in front of them. For us, we're a TV station, but we aren't just trying to get you to watch us on television. We're trying to get you to lean to us and follow us on our social media channels, on our website, come to us for information. And then the hope is that it's a cycle. If you come to us and you're reading a story on WKBW.com that you think is interesting, then maybe you're going to turn on the TV and you're going to watch us at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or the news. And I think that that's not something that's just exclusive to news. I think obviously what I do in sports is very much tied to that's top of mind. But like, look at what the Bills are trying to do. The Bills have their own television shows. They have their own radio shows. They put out all of their own content. They have a website that they devote a ton of resources to. The Sabres do it because we are no longer just getting home, turning on the TV and sitting there watching TV. I spend most of my time, if I'm watching TV, with my phone in my hand, scrolling on my phone. So this is the whole like multi-surface, or what do you call it? Multi-screen, second screen experience that he always talks about. So, I mean, I just think that this is something that is interesting to people who aren't just even thinking about television. It's any industry, any business whatsoever.
That's the kind of what the show's built around, right? This is a show designed to be a streaming show on every platform possible: Facebook, X, YouTube. Go there, watch us. If you are watching us on TV, you do have that second screen experience to go on and comment as the show's going on. You kind of said a lot of what I would say, and it's probably because you heard me say all this stuff a million times.
Yeah, probably.
So you kind of stole my thunder. But I would say we got a few minutes here, and I could give you a 30-minute answer.
He's about to cook.
Digital, I'm going to go more specific in what we do. So I'm the digital executive producer, whatever that means. So I technically oversee website, apps, social media. And the goal here, and it's not just here, this is every news organization everywhere, it's not just us, is fewer people watch local news, fewer people watch cable in general. Just that's not a surprise to anybody. Fewer people are watching. So how do we use the digital platform to reach more people? The tricky part there is right now, all the money is made TV. Advertisers want to spend on TV. That's shifting. They want the money's going toward digital. That's not there yet. So the goal is to use digital to get your brand out there, get more people to know who you are, know who we are, put your talent out there more, so they can connect with them. And then, you know, hopefully they make that connection. They like what they see from Matt Bove, probably not, but if they do, then they're more likely, they're like, oh, that Matt Bove guy, he had some decent takes once in a while. I'm going to watch what he has to say on 7 News at 6 or whatever. Until that spending changes, like I said, we're not there yet, but that's the direction we're headed is digital. I mean, a month of TV viewership is, I think, a couple million. I was trying to actually do the math just the other day. A couple million people are watching our news every month, but the reach on digital is 3, 4, 5 times that when you consider our apps, our social media accounts, all of that. There are so many more people seeing our product on digital than they are just on turning on channel 7 and sitting there. So that's why digital is so crucial, and we're trying to do different things. Again, this show, what can we do to reach? I think the buzzword, the corporate thing, is like reach them where they are.
Yeah,
more people are, like you said, sitting there on their phone, watching, scrolling, consuming their content there, and not necessarily on the traditional TV box.
Well, let me ask you this, and we'll have a lot to get to here, but is this something you always knew that you wanted to do, something in digital? Because we are both educated and trained in television. So obviously you have made the full shift to the digital side. I am still, a TV sports anchor, whatever that even looks like in 2024. But I'm starting to understand, I think, the digital mindset a little bit more. Did you always knew that you wanted to do something in like the digital space, or did you always know you wanted to do something in news and it just worked out that you ended up working on the digital side of things?
Neither, actually. I grew up in the YouTube scene. I think that was my age group growing up on YouTube. But no, I went to school for psychology, and then I made the switch to communications, and it was my professors that got me into news. And when I started here on digital, it was not what it is today.
Sure.
So I'm very grateful that we've just evolved in these 2 years, honestly.
Well, I feel like the consumer has evolved, the viewer has evolved, and I feel like that's a way that we're trying to kind of follow them to be where they are. So we're going to talk more about like digital media and social media and all of those different layers to all of this coming up on the other side of the break. Or if you're watching us on digital, we're going to be here the whole time. All right, so during these commercials, a lot of times we do like a would you rather question. And I feel like with you guys here, it makes the most sense. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. What is the most prominent and important social media channel right now, and why?
This is deep.
This is good, right?
This is a good question.
I know you're going to say Twitter is last.
Yeah.
Is my assumption.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you're going to say between the other three, because I feel like they all serve their purpose.
This is.
You have a minute and a half.
I was going to say, this is not enough time.
Well, we can continue into the segment, so that's fine.
Do you know? The problem is I don't have a one size fits all answer.
Right.
Everything's different.
I think it depends on like age groups and people. I would say most important to me, most crucial to me is probably YouTube.
Okay.
But I feel like for people older than me, it would be Facebook. Twitter's definitely last.
Yeah.
Instagram is so important though too. It's really changed the game. So I'm
going to say though, if you have to pick one, it's Instagram. I think.
Yeah.
Really?
If you're going to go one, if you're putting all of your resources into one spot, I think Instagram reaches the widest range. Our following is, it would surprise you. I think actually leans like 30 to 60-year-olds on our WKBW Instagram.
Yeah. Wow.
But you can reach so many people. YouTube is a very specific, more male audience. TikTok is obviously the much younger audience. X is
X is sports.
It's very
X is sports.
It's
and now politics, honestly. But
Yes.
X is sports, and that's why I feel like for me that was always kind of. But at the same time, you can carve a lane, but then realize that maybe it's time to switch. And I feel like a lot of people kind of carved out the lane on X, and now they're realizing like, well, maybe this isn't the best way of drawing an audience and trying to get them to where you're trying to go. So you would say Instagram, and you said for you, at least personally, YouTube?
Yeah, I think Instagram's probably most important for everyone. But for me, it would be YouTube.
I feel like the one I'm the most passionate about would be actually YouTube. I think YouTube
I would agree.
is the best, but that's just me. All right, we're going to continue. There's so much to talk about, so we're going to continue this conversation coming up. All right, welcome back, Studio 7. We've got our digital team here. During the commercial, we were talking about all of the different social media platforms. There was a lot of things that you could get to during that conversation, but I know we had a limited amount of time. So you were explaining you think Instagram is the most important. You said YouTube is probably your favorite. So let me ask you that. Why is YouTube the one that you would say, as a consumer, you use the most often?
I grew up on it. I watch it every day. You can get everything from, like our Disney content creators to news on there. It has everything. And, for the most part, unless, you're on premium, everything is just so easily accessible on there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's an entire generation, like you said, that was raised on YouTube, but that is so foreign to maybe the other generations, right? For me, I get home, I turn on my television. Unless I'm watching something live, like a live event, I just go to YouTube. And then I'm looking up things on YouTube that I find interesting and that are almost like curated to me, because obviously I'm logged in on my account. It knows, oh, you watch a lot of videos about golf, about Disney, about hockey, about football. Like those are going to be the things that we feed you. And then there's a couple random other ones mixed in. You said, though, Instagram. Why is Instagram the thing that a lot of corporations, companies, businesses are really trying to hone in on?
I think what I said before, I would say definitely not an expert on this. But it feels like that is the place where you can meet everybody. I said, our audience on Instagram is actually, it's like I said, it would surprise most people. I think it's an older audience, but maybe that's not surprising. And it goes to show that everybody, I know, like my nieces, my nephews want to be on Instagram and they're 10, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And my parents are on Instagram and everybody's there. Everybody's on Facebook, but I think just as a content, just pushing content, Instagram is the place to be. Everybody's there. TikTok, I think, is actually the better content platform than Instagram, but that is such a young audience and a totally different audience. And we talk about here when we're doing we do a lot on Instagram here, and you can't just take that same content and put it on TikTok. It's of such a different platform. Even though you put a vertical video on Instagram for a reel, you can't just take that and put it on TikTok. It doesn't work. These are very different platforms. Same with YouTube Shorts. Very different. One thing doesn't work everywhere. And then same with Facebook. We can put Instagram Reels on Facebook, and it's funny. You can tell which ones will do better on Facebook versus which ones will do better on Instagram.
Sure.
But Instagram, I think, is just the sweet spot to meet everybody. The reach is great when we post. Our Bill stuff goes crazy.
Yeah.
And that's reach when we post those, and you look at those, say a reel does 500,000 views.
Yeah. Often
99% of those views are not our followers because we only have 25,000 followers. So if it reaches 500,000 people, think about it, it's 500,000 people who may be seeing us for the first time there. So it's just a really powerful marketing tool, and that's why I think everybody is using it.
Well, let me ask you guys then this. Why is it a tool that benefits the consumer? And how is our product different on other platforms than it is on television? I feel like there's maybe this sense that a local news station's Instagram or YouTube page or whatever it is just going to be the same stuff you would see on television, but at least kind of what you guys try and do is make sure that it's not the same old thing. Why is that so important? And how does that, I guess, benefit anybody who's watching or following us?
Well, I'd say younger people, unfortunately aren't, like DJ said, watching cable. So this is our one chance to kind of get that content out to them. That's kind of why it's important, but it's also easily digestible if you're watching it on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. Like, if you're watching somebody's 2-minute package, they're probably, at least someone my age is going to tune out of it. Whereas on Instagram, if I can make it into 30 seconds and get all the best parts into it, they're more likely to maybe stick around.
I guess it's giving people what they need given the platform that they're finding you on, right?
Yeah.
That's literally, it's as simple as that. People wake up and they open up their phone and they go to Instagram.
Right.
You check text messages and you check Instagram probably, or Facebook. So, but you can't just, like you said, you can't just give them the local news. You can't give them the package on there for multiple reasons. One, it's just when you're scrolling, a lot of times the packages we run on TV are 3 minutes long, and they might take a while to get to the actual meat of what is important there because we're telling a story. Whereas Instagram's supposed to be, they say, snackable, quicker. So putting that on there doesn't work. It also, to go back to, we also need you to watch our TV show. So we can't just give that away for free.
Uh-huh.
And well, like I said, we don't just put it out there for free. And I mean, you could download our app and watch it for free. But it just, that stuff doesn't work there. So you have to be different on there. And you just have to be, my whole platform is you just have to be a human on social media. Be personable. A lot of what you see on TV, again, this is across the industry, and everyone goes to school, they go to college, they are trained this way, and rightfully so. You got to be very professional, buttoned up when you go on TV, because you're trying to earn the respect of the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
But on social media, people just want to know you and see you and just be a normal person.
Yeah.
So that's why we try to be different on those platforms.
There needs to be some sort of credibility, I think, especially that comes with being on television. Now, I agree with a lot of what you said, because I do think that a lot of times television, especially television news, is a little bit too buttoned up. It's a little bit too polished. It's a little bit too professional. And I say that understanding that I just talked about how important credibility is, but especially when you're younger and you're getting into the industry, you need to try and make people think that, like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about, and I'm going to be comfortable listening to them and trusting them. And I think that that's obviously very important with social media. Nobody is doing that. Oh my gosh, this guy is talking about the Bills, but he's not wearing a suit. Like, could you imagine? Nobody's going to stop because of that. Like, but if you're watching on TV, it might look weird if I just walked out and I was in a hoodie and shorts, like what I'm normally wearing. I'm not wearing a suit right now, right? So, like,
I'm wearing a backwards hat.
If you're wearing a backwards hat right now, it's a very different audience at times. But there also is people who are consuming on both. And I think that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about on the other side of the break. So we're going to do one more commercial on the TV side of things. If you're watching digitally, conversation continues right now. So for you guys, we've been talking a lot about all the different social media platforms, all the different ways that people can kind of consume the content. I asked you what was the most important, and then you kind of said the most important and your favorite. If you're a viewer and you're watching us on television, or if you're watching us on Facebook every single day, what's the one that not enough people are using that they should use? Because I think a lot of people also realize, like, they're sick of having too many things.
Yeah.
I don't have a TikTok because I just don't have enough time to have a TikTok and be paying attention to that. I want less, not more.
Right.
What are the most, like, crucial ones that people can have to really be getting great content that's also beneficial to them?
I think Instagram kind of combines them all, because like everything on TikTok eventually makes it.
Yeah, 2 weeks later, which is when I see it. You see it when it's on TikTok. I see it on Instagram a month later.
Right. So I think it takes everything. It takes, like, personal pictures to, news of the day. It does everything on there.
Yeah. What's your answer?
I would say I think most people are on Instagram probably, and go to reverse kind of what you guys were saying. I'm going to say YouTube, because there literally is everything for everyone there, and it has become such a powerful platform. It's almost too big now. It's overwhelming how much there is there. But there are people, and again, not surprising, there are so many people who have made careers, very successful careers, on YouTube.
Mr. Beast's got to be worth, like, what, billions of dollars?
Where there are these people, and deservingly so, like the work that Mr. Beast says, he spends $1 million on each video.
Yeah.
That's what he puts into these videos. There's so much awesome content out there. As long as you know where to find it.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're obviously both platforms that we spend a lot of time on, but I do know that there's a lot of people who kind of want to know, okay, if I'm not just on Facebook, where should I go next? And, maybe YouTube and Instagram are the answer. All right, welcome back, everyone. So a lot of talk about like the digital age and social media and about all of these different things that local news and also other industries are kind of trying to figure out. Another very popular conversation that is tied to this is the idea of cutting the cord. There are people who are watching this, I'm sure, who have gotten rid of cable television or are just leaning into like subscription services. Do either of you still have cable or satellite television or anything like that? And if you do you think you could get rid of it? So what about you? Do you have that stuff?
I live at home, so I do have cable.
Yeah.
But if, when I move out, I will not. I'll just be on YouTube and like streaming services.
And you think that would be totally fine, not an issue?
Totally fine. Yeah.
Okay. How about you?
I have it because I'm in an apartment where it's included. I would definitely not have it because I'd go back to you. There's when you said earlier, we go home, just turn on YouTube and everything's there. And there's so much live content also you can get without cable. I know that's a big concern from a lot of people is
me,
the live content.
Me. Yes.
There's a lot. What's funny, it seems that we're cutting the cord. We're getting rid of cable, and everybody's just signing up for YouTube TV. Or
that's
whatever.
what I mean. It's the same exact same thing.
At one point, many years ago, it made sense because YouTube TV was like $45 a month.
Yeah.
Now it's like $85 a month.
Yeah.
And you're just getting, and then you have your Disney Plus, your ESPN Plus, and you tack that on, and now you're over $100 a month. It's like you just right back to where you were, but now you have to use different apps to get to everything. So I understand the convenience of cable, but as someone who doesn't watch, like I said, I could just watch Disney YouTube all day. That's all I need. But I can understand the live sports.
Live sports is my biggest thing. I can't cut the cable. We have cable, and I can't cut it because of live sports. And that's not even just a professional thing. That's just when I'm at home and the television is on, most times I am watching live sports. And there are solutions to it. You've got the ESPN app, but that's a subscription-based thing. Now, I know you can bundle that with Disney Plus and Hulu and Spotify and whatever it is. It's live sports that aren't readily available on those platforms. And for me, a big one is honestly the Sabres.
I was just going to say.
Because the Sabres, if you want to watch the Sabres games, which I watch every single Sabres game, you need to have MSG. Now, there is a package where you can just have the MSG app and get the Sabres games. But even that, I think, is like $30 a month, which is crazy for $30 a month for what, 7 or 8 games that happen in a month? So I feel like the convenience of cable, I feel like if you're going to cut the cord, you have to have a solution towards live sports. And that's where I have my hiccup.
And that's the power of sports, right? That's why they make so much money, and it's all from TV deals because these TV providers are relying on them. You're their customer.
Yeah, I'm their customer. And like even a couple of years ago when the pandemic was going on, I remember a lot of people were talking about how can they continue to do all of this when there's not fans in the stands, because the fans in the stands are such a minuscule amount of what they're bringing in. Like at a Bills game, the Bills aren't making so much money because you've got 70,000 fans at their game and they're buying concessions. Like that definitely helps them, but they're making money because their game is being played on a major network, and that network is paying the NFL billions and billions of dollars. And that is why the contracts are so astronomically high and the players get paid so much money. I mean, it is pretty crazy when you think about it like that. But what about, is there anything else you would miss if you cut the cord? Like, is there anything else that you would not be able to have access to that you'd be like, oh, I need that? I know you can put up, an antenna, or you can get a box and you can watch your local channels like you want them to, but what else would you miss?
It's also not like super easy because I've tried putting like the little antenna in my room and I can't.
Well, they've got the digital antennas now, I think, not just like the rabbit ears that they used to have that I think are much more efficient, but I don't know because I just have cable.
It would be just those main channels for like maybe breaking news and stuff like that. But honestly, you can get everything else on YouTube.
And you can get most sporting events on those major networks, right? Like we're airing football games on Monday Night Football, basketball, NBA, big time college football. So like you cannot have cable television and still get access to the biggest sporting events. What I fear though is at one point, like the Super Bowl is going to be on a either pay-per-view or streaming only service.
I was going to say it's interesting. This is my one chance to talk about wrestling. Look at Monday Night Raw going to Netflix. That is such a huge deal, and it changes everything because that is a weekly live programming that for 30 years now. I think they're running over 30 years. Has been you had to have cable to watch that. It's available on the USA Today app like a month later. If you want to watch that, and that's why they have paid billions of dollars to WWE to keep that programming. Them going to Netflix changes everything, and the NFL's already starting to do this. Like there's Prime exclusive.
Yeah, there's Prime exclusive games. There was an ESPN Plus exclusive game. There's going to probably be other platforms that eventually hit them.
Like it's going to eventually be off cable, and then it's kind of like, for the cable companies, it's like, oh no. What do we do once we lose the NFL? Wrestling is one of the most watched programs on cable television. It's always in the top 1, 2, or 3 every time it's on. And if they're when Netflix already, what happens to their other programming? Do they find a streaming home for those? Amazon, Apple. I mean, the MLS is exclusively on Apple TV.
Apple TV, yeah.
Like so, it's happening, and we're going to end up having to pay for YouTube TV, we just went full circle.
Yeah. Final question. What, besides YouTube and like apps that are social platforms, what app do you use the most on your television? Like streaming service? What's the one you couldn't live without?
I really hate to say it, but it's YouTube.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, I hate to say it. I'm on it all the time, whether it's on my Roku or on my phone. Like I'm almost like an iPad kid where I can't be just in silence. I have to be on YouTube watching something.
What about you?
I would say Peacock because of wrestling, but YouTube has everything.
Yeah. I think YouTube would be the answer for me also. YouTube or probably ESPN Plus, just because of obviously there's a lot of interest there. All right. Well, this is our digital team. They've now done 2 episodes of Studio 7. So maybe we can just start regularly answering these digital questions. That's DJ. That's Julia. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.